Is President Trump terrifying LGBT so-called T kids? It's a trick question. Why is it tricky? Because there is truth to this. But is President Trump the one who's doing it? The devil, of course, is right there in the thinly dotted lines, the details. Here's a little detail of daily life that people are missing. It is something that seems as insignificant as you could ever imagine, and that is magnesium. So you take little things like this, like take potassium or take something like sodium. Those things seem really, really insignificant until you need them. You know, this past last summer when I was at SealFit and my kidneys shut down, I don't really know what caused that to happen, 12 hours of exercise, but I'd done 12 hours of exercise before. Stress because I got my butt handed to me by a bunch of Navy SEALs, that might have done it. But if you are without potassium and sodium for a little while, I'm here to tell you it doesn't seem insignificant when your entire body seizes and you literally can't move and have to be picked up off the ground by your teammates and have them help you lift your arms to a pull-up bar in an attempt to relax your body. The magnesium may not feel like that, the shortage. 80% of Americans are short on magnesium, but it comes in different ways. Increased stress, just feeling stressed out all the time. And that can lead to fat gain because your body's in a fight or flight. That can make it very difficult to sleep. It also adds up into lack of regularity, which can cause bloating and discomfort and even more lack of sleep. And eventually, it's not really good for your kidneys. So 80% of Americans are short on this, so they should just go to the China Mart to get up some cheap magnesium and guzzle that. It doesn't work that way. Your body needs full spectrum magnesium. This is where Bioptimizers comes in. Magnesium Breakthrough has 7 forms of naturally gathered magnesium, meaning organic, and it comes in a now even more dissolvable form. Magnesium Breakthrough 4.0 is more dissolvable, meaning it's more bioavailable, and it is more able to help you go to sleep, stay to sleep, maintain regularity, and it helps abate or control the stress hormone cortisol, which incidentally can help you also maintain a good, healthy body composition. Go to bioptimizers.com/Todd to get 10% off all their products. And when you subscribe, you never miss a shipment. That way, you just keep your protocol going. You also get exclusive free gifts and exclusive discounts. It's bioptimizers.com/Todd. The fact is this. President Trump is terrifying LGBT so-called T kids and parents. I know this because dearly beloved family members are terrified. Of what? Trump. What is President Trump doing to these kids? Some of us would say, in terms of gender ideology, he's stopping the terror. As someone who knows a lot of parents who have faced medical kidnapping, I can tell you that's terrifying. He's stopping that terror. So what is he terrifying people with? I can give you some hints. It has to do with a belief that President Trump is sending the troops out to take same-sex attracted kids out of school. This is truly a belief that they're going to come into the government schools and go, okay, so we saw your Instagram, you're same-sex attracted, you're out. You don't get to go to school here. Let's go, gay boy, you're out. There's a belief that public school teachers won't be allowed to teach anything to do with anyone who's ever been same-sex attracted. Say Oscar Wilde, the great poet and unbelievably talented man. Nope, that's gone. It doesn't bear any resemblance to anything President Trump has said he will do. Well, he's banning so-called trans people from the military. No, he's not. He's just saying that we're not going to pay for your hormones and surgery. That can't be the reason you join, because that affects troop readiness. Some people find that terrifying. We're simply going back to how things were all but 5 minutes ago. So what's actually terrifying people is their belief of what's to come, because they don't spend any time actually looking at the policies because they hate the man. And it's helped along by people like Bishop Buddha, who is the bishop in Washington, D.C. for the Episcopalian Diocese of Washington. So she gets to be one of the bishops at the National Cathedral. On the day of prayer, this is how she decided to treat that moment, with President Trump and Vice President Vance and their various wives, respective wives in the audience.
Let me make one final plea, Mr. President. Millions have put their trust in you. And as you told the nation yesterday, you have felt the providential hand of a loving God. In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families, some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meat packing plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation, but the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors. They are faithful members of our churches and mosques, synagogues, wadara, and temples. I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away, and that you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands to find compassion and welcome here.
Let's take this in reverse. That same week, on the border, the southern border, the Department of Homeland Security encountered a guy who was bringing in 50 caliber ballistic rounds, total value about $40,000. Week prior, they stopped a Russian mercenary with the Wagner Group coming into our country with $4,000 cash and a drone. We are constantly encountering military-age men from the Middle East crossing our border. We know that the cartels traffic people across our border. We know that 30% of kids are lost at the border and disappear into the country. We know through DNA testing that 30% of those kids that they DNA tested weren't actually with family members, though they were told they were with family members. Mercy is this: law. Jesus did not come to destroy the law, but to fulfill the law. Mercy is we're going to make it impossible, to the degree we can, for our country to be a place where kids are brought in to be turned in to slaves for other people's pleasure. That's mercy. When you're lenient when you should be firm, you'll eventually be cruel when you should be kind. There are going to be deportations of families who were offered a lie by the figurehead. You get to sneak across our border and stay here, and there are no consequences. No one will ever again enforce the law. We either have laws or we don't. And if we don't, then our whole nation is a lie. So to this pastor, change the laws. Then enforce the laws that are on the books. Otherwise, you're lying. We could go to Romans 13. Or just respect the laws of the land and the authorities. Great. The law says you don't sneak into the country. On the topic of mercy, how merciful is it for this pastor to repeat and give credence to the fear that parents of same-sex attracted kids and kids who believe they're the opposite sex, how loving is it for her to suggest they are at danger of being killed? President Trump ran on a platform that removed the objection to same-sex marriage. Two of his key advisors are same-sex attracted men. One of his top donors and strategists, Peter Thiel, is a same-sex attracted man. President Trump has done nothing that would be equated with hunting down same-sex attracted people for some form of extermination. Nothing like that. Members of the so-called trans community are very fond of saying they're being disappeared and there's a against them. Where's the sign of that? Is President Trump terrifying LGBT, so-called T families? Well, because people are taking President Trump way out of context. They're terrified of him, but the terror is real. Pastor's not lying. That's real. Rather, the bishop. That's real. So is this. Here's another video of the bishop at another time. This time not from the pulpit, so we can see how deeply motivated she is. Deeply, deeply motivated by the word of God.
Their message, it is a message of a call for justice, for swift justice for George Floyd, for systemic justice for all brown and black people who have been under the knee of this country in ways that we have witnessed time and again. This is wrong. And this rising up, this spontaneous uprising of people, mostly half my age or younger, they're the ones we should be listening to.
And they're angry at the president.
They're so angry.
They're angry at the president. So what is your message to President Trump today?
Well, I've given up speaking to President Trump. We need to replace President Trump. We need leadership that will lead us in the ways that this country deserves.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Where on earth have we before heard that children should lead us? In every communist revolution, the children will lead us. You will know them by their fruits. This is the Todd Herman Show. Please go be well, be strong, be kind, and please make every effort to walk in the light of Christ.